Hi.
Hey everybody! Welcome to Screen Weens!
I think Joe turned into a mouth head, guys.
Joe looks like the troll face.
No. Welcome everyone to Screen Weens, episode 7.
8?
I was just guessing a random number.
8.
I'm also like kind of guessing a random number.
It's 8.
You know how to count that, right? Pierre, you're not on this episode. Shut up.
Pierre's in the room, but he did not read Parasyte.
He watched the
anime
years ago.
6 years ago!
Probably closer to 5.
Didn't you graduate 2015?
That was 6 years ago.
6 years ago. Summer of 2015 would be 6 years ago.
What are you pointing at? Jar Jar Binks?
No, Natalie Portman's just staring at me like I'm a liar.
Because you are. You've actually never even seen Parasyte. Anyway,
Right.
We're talking about Parasyte, which was 64 hard-hitting, ass-smacking, cum-swallowing chapters.
Yeah, so
A lot
Parasyte,
of cum
for those of
swallowing.
you who don't know, is a classist story about...
A classist story?
Yeah, it's about this lower class family that basically bamboozles their way into working for a really rich family, and their house floods or something. I know. Okay, Parasyte is
Is a movie that was created by Charles Band.
No, Parasyte is a not symbiotic relationship where a parasite
Symbiote.
or something feeds off of the host body but provides nothing to the host body. It just sucks its life force out. That's what we're talking about, right? This is a biology podcast.
okay.
I mean, that's probably the closest thing to what we're actually talking about.
So Parasyte is a manga written by it's like I walk. I can never remember
I have
the
the
guy's
wiki
name.
up. Keep talking.
He writes like history, which is like a manga that's
writes
he
history?
writes history with an IE. It's a manga that follows. It doesn't like Alexander the Great's not the main character, but he's like a main character in it. It's like a historical drama manga.
Is it good?
I hear pretty good.
Why
things
didn't we
about
read that?
it. Because I figured this would probably be a lot easier as a jumping on point for his work for you guys than that would be. But I read.
I love Alexander the Great.
I would recommend reading Eureka.
Hitoshi Iwaka.
Yes.
It ran.
Walking these nuts.
When did it
I
run?
want to say like late 90s.
Yeah, early 90s.
Early 90s. Okay.
Original run was 1988 to 1995.
But yeah. Eureka is another historical manga, but that one's only like 6 chapters. So
Oh yeah, I've
that's
heard
a
of
good-
Eureka.
That's a good one. But anyway, this is basically the story of a boy named Shinichi who gets an alien parasite stuck in his hand when it was supposed to go to his brain, eat his head, and replace his head, and fit into society like a body snatcher. But it failed, and it replaced his hand instead. So now he goes around like a teenage Spider-Man, but kind of more fucked up. And basically just hunts down parasites and kills them.
It was just like if Spider-Man was a bounty hunter, but was also really horny and also really stupid.
Yeah. But basically, like...
Spider Hand.
Yeah.
yeah, it's like Spider Hand. Hey,
Yeah.
I made that up.
but yeah, it's basically just like sci-fi, horror, shonen action. It's got a lot of commentary on like human nature and humans' relationship with nature.
Environmentalism.
The
all that
parasites really like to say, but are we the real parasite?
stuff. Yeah.
They
But
say something similar to that, I feel like, every 5 fucking chapters.
yeah, it's definitely
that's
a little on the nose
mainly like
sometimes,
on
but
one character though.
it happens with a couple.
It happens with a couple, but like it's mainly on the lady.
The mayor, the fucking guy running for mayor or whatever.
Reiko
all the
Tamura.
time.
That's like mainly her like entire shtick.
Yeah, but spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert! If you haven't listened or watched we spoiled the entire story. Like, we're just gonna talk about it.
So Shinichi, he's got a thing in his hand. I don't know how, but he like can turn his hand into like a pickle.
It was the funniest shit I've ever seen.
So basically, yeah, we follow Shinichi. He gets his hand replaced by a shape-shifting alien that talks to him. And basically, the first couple chapters are like slice-of-life high school stuff. He meets his first couple parasites. One's a dog, one's a guy who's like, I'll cut my arm off and you can just hop over. Doesn't work. Well, it theoretically could have worked, just Migi didn't do it. Migi is his hand, by the way.
Migi is also Japanese for right.
Yeah. I guess there was like some translation notes that were like, we could have called him righty. I guess in one of the old releases, when this was first released over here, they flipped it so it read from left to right like the Americans do. And when they did that, they called him lefty in that version, I guess.
Ugh.
Yeah, right.
Ugh.
But yeah, so they call him Migi, and yeah, basically he wants to know, like, how Shinichi's sex organs work. He wants to witness him mate.
Hey, Shinichi, I need you to go fuck.
Oh god, Migi, calm down, we're in school.
Yeah, I'm a minor. It's illegal.
But basically, yeah, Shinichi, eventually his mom gets fucking murked by a parasite and replaced, and then she comes home and kills him. Well, almost.
Stabs him in the fucking chest and he's dying.
But
Migi's like, yo, hold on, what if I, like, sacrifice a part of myself to repair you? And you'll be, like, kind of part parasite, part human, and basically become Spider-Man at that point.
I saw you looking at.
I did not.
I saw you looking at.
I did
There's
not.
video proof.
I did not. You were in my peripheral.
There's video proof of your eyes moving over. I have it now.
My eyes don't move.
But yeah.
anyway, but yeah, so that leads into a little mini arc where basically Shinichi goes and has to hunt down his mother and kill her. Well, not really his mother, but and that kick starts like a whole arc where basically he thinks he's not human, or he's becoming less human because basically he's going through a bunch of traumatic shit and he doesn't really feel anything. Like he's super dissociated with it.
The process of me like repairing him, he became more parasitic or parasite-like, and they don't really like feel the same emotions. They're very cold and calculating species.
See, I feel like that's just Shinichi's interpretation. I don't think that's actually what's happening to him.
I think it's literally just the trauma of him like being fucked up over and over again.
Yeah,
and him just being internally very scared of no longer being human. So and you know, puberty.
That too.
So everything that hits him is just like, should I be doing this a different way? Do humans do this?
Yeah. I will say the anime has one of my I think the manga overall I enjoy much more than the anime, but I think the anime on one particular scene does it much better, and I think it's mainly a translation issue because he says something different in the anime than he does in the book that I have. It's the scene where I haven't even explained who the fuck Kana is yet. Kana, so he's got 2 love interests in the story. Neither of them are very interesting.
Migi.
He's got 3 love interests.
3 love interests in the story, if you're not counting his mother. So, yeah.
You're not counting his mother. What?
She spends a lot of time, like... a love interest in a different sense. Anyway, so basically... I lost my train of thought. Where was I before?
You were talking about Kana. You're talking about...
Yes.
Talking about the weird, not really fulfilling love triangle.
Yes. So he's got...
Incredibly fulfilling.
He's got Murno, who is the girl at his high school that he really likes.
His childhood friend.
His childhood friend. And then there is Kana, who is this, like, neighboring town girl who, like, basically comes across Shinichi when a gang of guys tries to beat him up one time, and she looks into his eyes and goes, there's a dark side to this guy. And I like that, because I like bad boys. So she really just starts stalking him, and it turns out that she's also got this, not psychic link, but basically she's got like this intuition where she can perceive
parasite
signals
sense,
from
There's
parasites.
there's a mechanic between the parasites where they can kind of like know where they are based on like brainwave location.
They got
can, like, sense each other.
echolocation.
Yeah, essentially, and Kana's like able to like
Sense.
that.
Yeah. So basically, Shinichi, while he doesn't really care for Kana on an emotional level, he basically spends his entire dynamic with her is her going like, I like you, but I'm not going to say it. And he's like, you need to stay away from me. And if you get the tingle, stay away from me. And she's like, okay. So if I feel the tingle,
Go
I
right
run
to
to
you.
you. And he's like, no, you don't get it. And then it gets to the point where he finally allows or convinces Migi to allow him to like show Migi to her. That way she'll get it and be like, oh, I should probably stay away from these people. But before that happens, she gets murked. And when that happens, there's a scene afterwards where he goes to her funeral and her, like, delinquent boyfriend, not boyfriend, shows up and starts beating up on Shinichi. And he's like, what the fuck? Why aren't you crying? Don't you know how she felt about you? Are you even human? And basically, like, Shinichi breaks down as much as he can at this point. Like, just starts beating him up. And he's like, you're damn right I'm not fucking human. And there's a scene where he knocks him down. And in the manga, he's like, is that all you got? But in the anime, he's like, why do you fall down so easily? And I feel like it gets into, like, more of the human fragility thing. And I like that line better.
He's like, why are you so weak? In the manga.
In the version I read, he said, like, is that all you got? But
yeah, same kind of thing.
More or less, yeah.
Convey, yeah.
And it's like, I felt like the line was deeper, but the way that it was translated in the manga just didn't have that extra layer to it. It just felt like a generic, like, beat 'em up line.
How come you suck so much?
Yeah. But,
I'm Shinichi too.
But yeah, then he goes over and he bashes his head on a tree and he's like, my blood's still red. That's good,
I'm still human, I guess.
But yeah, that's the one scene that comes to mind when I'm like, I think the anime did that better. Aside from that, especially since they have like the ending theme, like rising over the top of that scene as well, which adds that.
Damn it.
That one?
No.
I'd be very surprised, because that's the
like,
Angel
what?
Beats opening.
I was like, I'm trying to remember.
The ending is a beginning.
See, I was about to go into it, but then I was like, that's a Hunter x Hunter ending. I can't. What?
Oh, yeah.
It's like a slow piano song.
Yeah. No, I know the one you're talking about.
Dun da da da.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, what are you doing?
That was Domestic Girlfriend over the piano.
Dun 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 dun.
Yeah, that one.
That's One Piece.
Whenever we talk
I'm just kind of like saying,
manga,
yeah, that one to everything you're doing
whenever
right
we
now.
talk about manga on this podcast, it just evolves into like.
Well,
But yeah, and
Yeah.
then Parasyte, he parasites it up, and then he knows Migi has to go. Oh, I gotta go to bed for 4 hours.
yeah, that's a result of giving up 30% of his body to basically repairing Shinichi's heart.
After Kana dies, the rest of the parasites are like, yo, we're gonna form a society, and we're also gonna put one of our dudes as like one of the political, or try to have one of our dudes be political leader, but we're also gonna like stack
concurrently.
the parliament house with a bunch of us, and we're just gonna like try and integrate into society.
And then there's also one who's like, what if I have 5 parasites in me?
But they fake you out. They're like, no, that's 3 parasites, and then he's like, no, I got 5 parasites in me.
Yeah, well, they suggest earlier that there's one because they're like he's with like.
He's with a couple of other cohorts.
Yeah, he's like with the 5. And because when not, I forget the name of the character, the one that's voiced by Gaara. I know that doesn't help because
That doesn't
we read
help
the
for
manga.
something that we read.
He's the one that gets the fucking rock through the chest.
Oh,
That guy gets right.
Mimata.
Yeah.
Mr. M.
The bee killer. Killer
I'm
Bee.
fairly sure that's Mimata.
Not Killer Bee from Naruto, but Killer letter B.
from Be the Beginning, the Netflix anime.
Didn't watch it. Anyway, so basically, that guy, when he's introduced, he has a line where he asks Tamiya Reiko, where he's like, how's this character doing? Oh, he's with the 5. And he's like, that's great. And then that's kind of our hint. But then we meet a character later on who's got 3 in him, and we're just like, oh, who is this guy? And then it turns out he's actually got 5. The guy who was just the head at that point was really shitty at controlling them. So he only had control over the head and 2 others. But then Godo takes over, who is the actual 5 guy.
And he's like, watch me do this! And he starts spinning.
Yeah, so it's 5 guys.
He starts fucking sprinting at them.
It's 5 guys, and then he goes and opens up a burger joint called Five Guys, because he's got 5 guys living in his body.
Yep. I mean, yeah.
That's the end of the story. It's my shitty joke.
They sell burger and fry. He flipped patty. He moved the register.
It's a good one. I try.
But they eventually are like, we gotta fucking take this guy out or die trying.
Yeah. And we're kind of messily explaining the plot. I'm just trying to get over some of the broad strokes of the plot. That way we can just dive into specific parts more in depth. But basically, yeah, there's a plot line where Reiko fucking hires a private detective. He ends up
trying to follow Shinichi, and Shinichi's like, yo, I don't like what you're doing, because he catches him, and they try and scare him and bring him over to his side to spy on Reiko, and Reiko's like, don't do this, you stupid idiot, I know what you're doing.
Yeah, it's like, I'm a woman with a baby and I can see that you're following me. This isn't your profession, guy. And he's like, basically every time someone insults him like that, he's like, I've gotta try harder. And then his family gets fucking murked, and he's like, wow, I shouldn't have fucking done that. Yeah. So he fucking he decides to fully cooperate with the police, and then he
kidnaps her baby.
Yeah, then he decides not to cooperate with the police, and then he kidnaps her baby and gets fucking killed in the park. And this is where Shinichi gets kind of revealed, because he's obviously at the forefront of a lot of these cases as they're being figured out by the police.
Constantly in the wrong place at the wrong time.
And this is the point in the story where they're like, all right, this guy knows more than he's letting on, and we need to figure out what the fuck it is. So yeah, basically Shinichi starts working with the cops to catch the parasites. They kill a bunch of fucking innocent people, and...
Yeah, they're like, it doesn't matter who dies, as long as the parasites don't walk out of here today.
Yep.
That's what I imagine that guy sounds like.
More or less. So a bunch of innocent people die, a bunch of... Hell, depending on your ethical standpoint, a bunch of innocent parasites die too. I mean, what are they fucking doing? Surviving. Just like the rest of us.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Dog world out there.
It's Parasyte suck off Parasyte world.
It's dog world. What are we to say if one of those dogs looks a little different?
Yep.
What if those dogs want an alien dog?
One of those dogs is just hungry. What if one of those dogs has a baby for science?
They changed the dog in the anime too, so it's smaller. Of
course they did.
It's like a little corgi or something.
Of course they did.
They should have made it like a cat instead.
They should have made it Clifford.
That's what the Clifford movie's going to be about. He's a parasite.
But, yeah, basically, so during this, Godo fucking sees Shinichi and he's like, oh, you're partly behind this? I'm gonna fuck you up, kid. And Shinichi's like,
I bet.
Yeah. So then, yeah.
So the Migi separate and they have a final confrontation and they die. They get wrecked.
Yeah.
They get wrecked. So fucking one-armed Shinichi goes and stays with this old lady for a couple of days.
In a Frankenstein moment.
Yeah, and then he figures out, like, oh, Godo's going around this town that I'm in and just
like a
killing...
horrible monster now.
Yeah, he's just killing a bunch of people, so I better at least go try. So he takes like a fucking like little gardening rusty sight thing. He goes after Godo. And in this moment where he's definitely gonna fucking die, Migi comes back and jumps out of Godo's arm, and it turns out he had been like basically absorbed into Godo, and it had been kind of like a hive mind thing, but like at that moment he kind of like clicked and registered and jumped back.
My friend is here.
Yep. And yeah, then
and they fucking kill Godo.
Pollution saves the day.
Yeah.
They use there's like
they're fighting on top of a garbage pile.
Yeah, a big garbage pile that just random people come and dump fucking garbage into. And Shinichi,
people, am I right?
Yeah, Shinichi shoves a fucking pipe into one of Godo's like weak points that he has, which also it's kind of an issue I have with Godo that I'll get into. But shoves it into one of Godo's weak points, and then it's just Migi's like, yeah, that had poison on it, and Shinichi's like, what the fuck? Why did someone just throw that away? Like, what the fuck? But yeah, so then he's like,
what do you do with your poisoned pipes?
But like his body's
dispose of them better than just a.
But his body like explodes out, but all the parasites are like slowly come back to form each other, and Migi and Shinichi are like, I don't know, should we kill him? He's just trying to live and survive. Who am I to play God? And Shinichi's like, you know what, you're right. And then Migi's like, you know, you don't really like decide what the world wants. The world kind of does that on its own. And Shinichi's like, yo, you're fucking right. I'm gonna kill this guy.
Yeah.
And he fucking axes Godo. Godo is dead.
Yeah.
That's largely the rap, and then there's an epilogue.
Yeah, one of the big running themes of the series is like how humanity tries to separate itself from nature, and it's like, we're not part of that shit. We're above it. And then basically Shinichi comes to the realization, I am a part of nature. It is totally within my right to stop this 5 beast monstrosity from killing my race. So he fucking decides to kill it.
That's what's gonna happen in the Monkey War.
Probably.
The monkeys are gonna rise. It's gonna be Rise of the Planet of the Apes. I've never seen.
Plus London.
I'll
be with them.
I'm also going to be with them.
Team Monkey!
I'm also gonna be on the Monkey Squad.
There's gonna be a lot. It's gonna, like, the second the news goes, the monkeys have started, and then they're gonna go, oh no, all the humans are leaving too!
You go on to, like, NBC and, like, the monkeys have risen!
Dude, I can't wait for that day. It's gonna be
Joe Biden.
It's just me and you in like monkey costumes.
Like,
I'm a monkey now.
Fifth term Joe Biden is like, my fellow Americans, the monkeys have awoken. Man the battle stations.
He doesn't like monkeys.
Pierre does not like monkeys.
Pierre will be the sole survivor in the monkey-human war. He will survive purely off of his hatred for the monkey kind.
Yeah, that's the story. So
there will be 2 people who survive: Pierre and Klaus Kinski.
Oh God!
I don't know who that is.
Evil man.
You watched the movie with him and the monkeys? What was the name of that movie?
The Wrath of God.
Yes.
Yeah, they stomped some monkeys good in that movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we read Parasyte, and it's pretty good.
I had a fantastic time with it. There are a couple of points that I'm like, not the greatest, and a lot of it isn't like super crazy defining, but what was there, I really kind of sunk my teeth into. I don't think
it's no Bleach.
It's better than Bleach in my opinion.
I agree.
It's no Bleach.
Like, I don't know, I don't fully agree with, like, the female characters. I mean, they're not the most fleshed out, but I think that what they're there for serves a good...
I agree.
Well, except for Kana.
Yeah, what women are there
I
for.
like them as...
Great.
I just phrased that incorrectly. You know what I'm... Like, for the characters, why, like...
Their functionality as plot devices is potent. I do enjoy that aspect.
It is good.
I just wish that they would have had a few more defining traits.
I agree. I mean, I think Murano serves as a great, like, tie-in to Shinichi's, like, kind of like what he was as, like, a human as he saw.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, that was kind of his, like, rock and, like, baseline of, like, shit, am I actually, like, being weird? Or what's going on? I found that to be a really powerful thing in the story. Kana, kind of less so. I thought she was fun. But I'm like, give or take.
A lot of people in the fan base, like, if you look at, like, fucking, like, Parasyte comment videos, will be like, I like Kana way better than Murano. And it's like, I get it. Because she's got, like, 2 more traits.
Yeah, she's
I'm not a fan of either of them.
Yeah.
Well, like, they're fine. Like women.
Like I said, I like the role in the story they play, but I wish there would have been a little more to them.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
Same thing with, like, I really, really like the characterization of, like, his mother and his father. There was some really interesting stuff. And then his father just kind of dropped out of the story. I wish there was a little more with him, because there was some really interesting stuff going on with his dad. And then they're like, okay, gotta drop it, gotta introduce Gojo, gotta wrap up the story.
Sorry, continue.
I was just gonna say, I think that also Goto is, like, a really, really interesting concept, and I like his character at the beginning of, like, his introduction, but, like, I just wasn't super satisfied with the climax of the story. However, I love the epilogue of the story.
I thought that was, like, keep a picture behind your phone for the reason why you keep fighting in the monkey war.
But, yeah. Don't really like the climax that much, love the epilogue.
Yeah, I mean, it was simple in what it did, and it was like, I thought it was a pretty hype fight. I largely agree. I think Goto is fine towards the end. I think a lot of characters are just kind of like left more so on the wayside. I also really like the whole like theme and running through of like, well, what the fuck does it mean to be human? Especially when...
Where the fuck you going?
I'm checking the time, and I was just getting warm, so I wanted to move for a second.
What the fuck? You can't do that. We're recording a Thomas, we're recording...
Oh, it's not double.
We're not double.
We're recording Screen Weens right now. You can't fuck with this.
Do you need another running time? You can record for
I'm fucking with it.
about 28 pages.
Just do it.
I'd like to buy out Thomas's share of the Screen Weens YouTube channel.
That's like 20 grand. We're pretty... It's like, I own like 20 grand, Thomas owns like 20 grand of it, Pierre owns like 5 grand of it. You own like $50 right now.
I can do that. I can buy out Thomas's half easy.
Okay.
Whoa, that wasn't...
You can buy my part too.
No, I don't want
You can own Screen Weens.
No, I think, like, the hardest line that tugged on me was the whole, like, well, what the fuck are humans anyway? And, like, y'all are, like, trying to be, oh, we're superior, but, like, you, like, look at pigs, look at, you know, livestock, like, you're doing basically the same thing, like, how are what we're doing different from you? You know, I really like that whole, like, perspective shift. I've always kind of liked that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think, like, Parasyte does it extremely well. I think it's something that's been done so many times. It's, like, fine.
Yeah.
I enjoy the story. I don't think it's anything, like, substantial in what it's trying to say, but it handles what it is saying fine.
Yeah, and I think that's perfectly fine. I mean, especially, like, towards the end, I was thinking a lot about, like, Okja.
Okja, he's nuts.
Yeah, I think Okja, Bong Joon-ho movie, it kind of has similar, like, themes on, like, the environment and, like, livestock and, you know, what do we eat and all that stuff. I think that handles that portion of that argument a lot stronger. But what is presented here, I like it. It's not poorly portrayed, and I think it's a very strong part of the story.
Yeah, I'd agree. What was your guys' like favorite plot thread?
In general, probably the mom and the dad stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say probably that stuff. In general, it's like a longer running. I do really like the use of like trauma and like his own ideas of what a parasite is on like, is he really human? That stuff's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the most consistent stuff is the stuff surrounding his mom and his dad. Mm-hmm. So I'd probably say that's my favorite. I was really, really excited for Goto, and I think I was just a little disappointed in the climax. I wanted a more characterization of like what a being that controls 5 parasites would be like, and just don't think Godo got enough stuff to do besides just being, I'm a big monster.
Yeah.
Counterpoint, like, I know he was, like, introduced, like, decently well, but at the end of the day, like, he was just, like, on a rampage during the final climax. Like, I don't, you know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't like that.
I mean, like, I don't know. It makes sense to me, like, why that wouldn't be there. Wasted opportunity? Maybe, but, fitting for me, at least.
There is a manga that started in 2018 called, like, Parasyte Reversi or something like that, and it takes place, like, concurrently, along with...
short stories around it?
I don't think it's short stories. Oh. It follows, like, the mayor's son.
Oh.
Okay.
Because we didn't get into this, but there's a mayor who is running on the platform for, like, parasites, but...
Like, Smoke Screening as, like, he's a human, but he's really fighting for parasite rights.
Yeah, and it's, like, a big reveal that he's human when that happens, because they shoot him, and they're like, what? He was human? And then, like, Godo shows up, and he's like, yeah, you guys think this guy's fucking weird, too? Oh, kills them all.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, I agree. I don't really have a problem with Godo kind of going into, like, a rampage, because, like, I feel like that's what they were going for. Like, I feel like if he were a stronger character per se, it would, like, I don't know, like, it just wouldn't work quite as well, because, like, they have that whole thing where it's like, he is just, like, a weak parasite. It's just, it's really strong. So it's like, I kind of get that, like, he's got a weak mindset.
He just returned to monkey is all.
Yeah, he just basically gives, because, like, it's implied that, like, a lot of the parasites will just kind of, like, give in to their base instincts a lot of the time, even when they know.
For a few.
Yeah, like, Reiko is, like, an example of one who is, likes to think about things and study humans.
Probably my favorite character.
Yeah, that's probably, like, my... the stuff with, like, Shinichi dealing with, like, his emotions and the Reiko stuff is probably, like, my favorite. I really like how it came full circle. I honestly forgot about the part... Like, I remembered her death, but I forgot that she, like, changed her face into his mother's, and I like that part.
No, I thought Reiko was a fascinating character, kind of, like, from the get-go. Very much like Migi, where she's like, I don't necessarily want to, like, kill people, even though at first they were doing that. She's like, I'm insanely curious about what's going on. Like, I've inhabited a woman's body, supposedly this is how you make more people. I'm gonna have a baby and, like, see where that goes, and, like, contemplate life and whatnot. I thought she was a very interesting character to, like, follow, as she's, like, trying to be, like, kind of a foil-ish to, like, Shinichi, where he's, like, kind of learning about, like, what it means to be parasites and vice versa, and she's, like, what it means to be human and vice versa. It also, like, she has probably, like, my favorite panel of the entire manga, where, like, there's a fight earlier on where, like, Shinichi, corners Reiko, and he's, like, really angry and, like, wants to kill her, and she just, like, holds up her fucking baby by the scruff, and she's like, I have a baby. Do it. And he's just like, you got me there. I can't, there's a baby involved. I can't. And then also, like, when she dies, like, Murano, like, asking, like, is that Shinichi? And just, like, panel turn, and him just, like, crying, like, or, like, is Shinichi back? Like, panel turns, he's just, like, crying, like, breaking down, like, yeah. I'm like, oh, that hit hard for me. I don't know, just something about him, like, yeah, I'm back. I'm human. I know what I am.
Yeah.
Just kind of, like, completing that inner turmoil thing, at least coming to peace with it.
Mm-hmm. No, I like that panel a lot. I'm also fond of when all the parasites try to kill her and she goes on the fucking head shenanigan.
That was so hilarious.
Yeah, I love that little fucking chunk where she just fucking runs without, like, the top of her head, and everyone's just like, what the fuck is that? And then she, like, just makes
opens
the rest of her
head.
A couple guys who just saw her but are like, no, there's no way. Like, that wasn't the same person. Hey, you want to go get a drink? And she's like, my head's fucking empty.
New thoughts head empty.
And yeah, just fucking runs back and finishes off the parasites that were trying to fucking kill her.
I was kind of mentioning this, like, before we jumped in, but, like, seeing, like, stills from, like, the anime, just, like, seeing the characters, I'm like, I really like the goofy 90s aesthetic. Like, this, like, for as, like, dark and serious and gory as it is, this manga is goofy as hell looking sometimes, and I kind of love it.
Yeah, no, it's got a...
That's what I love the most about it.
Yeah, no, it knows how to ride that line. Make its way around,
absolutely.
for sure.
It's able to turn from, like, kind of lighthearted school antics to, here's a hallway full of gore, feel the dread.
You should read the Yu-Gi-Oh manga.
I've read Yu-Gi-Oh! Zero.
No, the Yu-Gi-Oh manga.
Oh.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Zero. The one that's the show.
But, yeah. That's Parasyte.
It's Parasyte.
Yeah.
In a nutshell.
Yeah. There's a couple different spin-offs. There's the one I mentioned, which is the newer one, but then there's like the Neo-Parasyte stuff.
Which that's like the anthology series by a bunch of different writers. And I think there's 2 of those right now, or maybe 3.
I think there's 2 currently. But, yeah. I haven't read any of the spin-offs. I've only ever read the main vein here. But
This is my first interaction with Parasyte as a series and franchise, so...
Oh, well, I'm glad I corrupted you into liking the manga, because everyone fucking loves the anime. And I'm like, oh, the manga, though. Like, the line bit's not in the anime. I get that part's not really important or necessary to the, like, whole structure, but I like it. It gives you, like, a window into, like, an animal's mindset for, like, a chapter, which I think works really well for the series.
Yeah.
But yeah, Parasyte.
I would have loved, I think, if it had, like, another, like, full volume, another 5, 6, 7 chapters to kind of flesh out some more characters. I think this is fantastic.
Maybe. I
like,
honestly feel like it might get, like, in the section between when he fights the 3 guy and, like, before, like, his final battle with Goto, I feel like that section of the story, like, is about the point when I was, like, reading it. And I did read it all, like, in pretty much a day. So maybe it was just that. But I was getting to the point where I'm like, I feel like this story could wrap up here if it wanted to, like, start putting the pieces together. But honestly, I think it works just fine.
Because I read it over a couple of, like, larger, like, sessions. Because when I first read it, I read, like, nearly half of it in one sitting. Like, it was... Either I was just reading it and really into it, or like it just went like super fast for me that I'm like, I want a little bit more of this. I think towards like the middle bit, it maybe slugged down just a tad, like between the mom arc and then the start of the next arc. Little slowdown there, but apart from that, like
that's where I originally dropped the anime. So there might be some correlation there. Because I remember watching the episode where he throws the puppy away, and then I was like, then I just didn't keep up weekly, and then everyone else was like, Thomas, you need to finish Parasyte for years. I'm like, yeah. So I read the manga instead. I was like, I fucking love Parasyte. So
I can't wait to watch the live action movies.
Me too.
And then never watch the anime.
I mean, the anime works. Is like I don't know. If you ever want to
check it out.
Share the story with Hinata, that might be like the best route for you or something, perhaps.
But is it in live action?
It is in live action. I don't know how good the live action is.
It's by the guy who made Lupin the Third the First, so
it's probably pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I would say I enjoyed this one quite a bit. It was fun. It was a fun little adventure. Yeah, good. It was good. So short. I finished it like 3 weeks ago. I don't fucking remember anything. I don't. There was like a hand, I think.
And this is why I finish it the night before.
Well, this is why I pick long things.
This is why I spreaded this one out a bit more.
I was busy getting
Thumbs?
This is one of my favorite series. I don't know where it would rank, if it's in my top 5 or top 10 or whatever, but it's one of my favorites. I love it. And yeah.
Is it above One Piece?
No, but I love...
Fuck you!
I mean, One Piece is like...
One whole piece of my heart.
Of my fucking... Because like, they're like manga that I would consider like better than One Piece, technically, but I love One Piece.
Plain and simple. Sometimes sometimes that's all that matters.
Exactly.
No, I had a very fun, fantastic time with it. I don't know if I'd put it in like a top 5 or top 10, top 20.
This is easily one of the top 100 manga I've read.
Yeah, no, I'd put this in like
top 100 of all time for sure.
Definitely like upper percentage cut for me.
I've read enough manga to probably say that.
Nerd.
Maybe like halfway there for me. I don't read a lot of manga, but like I'd say like in terms of like series and stuff, like this definitely like top like 20% for me.
Yeah. No, it's real good. Love it. I love it more than I love Bleach personally.
Bottom tier for me. No, it's not. Bleach is fine.
I think
Chad was in this though. Chad was the main character.
If Chad was the main character, that would be
okay. So instead of Migi, it's Chad's arm.
It's Chad.
It's just Chad.
What if Chad was in Paris?
Yeah. What are we reading next?
I'll give you guys a choice. Star Wars 1, Star Wars 2, or Vampire Book.
Vampire Book.
Vampire Book.
Okay. Well, we're just gonna read the classic.
I thought that might be the case.
Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I read Seraph and Vampire.
The other choices were we were gonna do a double of Ahsoka and Kenobi. Or we were going to do Light of the Jedi and The Rising Storm, which are the two first High Republic adult novels. Rising Storm's technically the 4th book that came out, but yeah, cool. But we're reading Dracula. I just got this cool one from Barnes & Noble. It has gold pages.
Yeah, I thought that was your Bible for a second.
I should get a Bible.
You should get a Bible. I should make you guys read
this one's kind of a beefy book.
I'm going to read 500 pages of letters. It might be closer to 400.
Yeah, it's all letters.
It's all letters.
I thought you said lettuce at first.
All lettuce.
But yeah. Bye.
Get out of here.
Oh, time for another month where Pierre does not read with us.
Yep.